sick. This is weather-related issues. My daughter had a very similar issue last night. Apparently, we don't like it when dust gets like up on our nose. Apparently, weird. Today it's supposed to be really warm. You know, it's supposed to be today. It's supposed to be in like the 60s today. Yeah, super excited. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, couple of reminders moving forward. Besides the regular hullabaloo with Google Classroom, next week, and I'm gonna kind of put this in your minds a little bit, just because it's a few class periods away. On Wednesday the 17th, I won't be here. Wednesday the 17th, but there will be something assigned to you through Google Classroom. So just kind of a heads up, like, oh, Mr. Reggie's not here, ha ha ha. Well, no, I'm gonna have something that's going to be scheduled to be released to you at approximately 7:20, 7:20 real time, not 7:20 school time, but 7:20, and you'll be able to get that done in the classroom with the Chromebooks. So just as a reminder for the 17th, I'm actually going out to get. I tell you why I'm not going to be out that day. I didn't tell you. I'm getting the second vaccine shot. So yay, which is exciting because several people have told me that the second vaccine shot is like a punch to the face. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Should be fun. Should be fun regardless. Anyway, for those of you that are joining us in the chat, if you would leave a comment in that chat, that would be absolutely fantastic before we get started with what I would like to do today. Well, I don't know if they actually will, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I want to focus our attention to a fair division method that I have not taught about just yet. It's called method of sealed bids. Now, I want to teach method of sealed bids kind of a little bit differently than I have in the past, just because I want to see how this works. And then after we do that, I do have some notes that I want to get on this thing so we get this information down. And then with the time that we have left, if there is time left, I do have some online practice. But again, that's an if we get there. But I do have that thing set up and ready to go. So let's say that the three of you are heirs to my fortune. All right. I don't know why, but the three of you, I've named you heirs to my fortune. Good job. I know. And then I die. Maybe you did it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I die. So now my fortune, which consists of a couple different things, actually just two specific things. It consists of an 80-inch TV. Let's just assume, top of the line 80-inch TV, brand new, and a 2021 Toyota. I don't know what make. Wait, is it make or model? It's a Toyota's the make, and then the model is like the extra little name. No? Okay, whatever. But it's a Toyota. Don't care what kind of Toyota it is. But those are the two items in question. It's a brand new, top of the line TV, and it's a 2021 Toyota. Both are in pristine condition. For some reason, I don't know why, but I left the two items to the three of you. Now think about that for a second. Oh, hold on. Good morning. It's Thursday. Yes, I did. I didn't. It got lost in my inbox, Sydney. So I will reply to that today. But anyway, I have these two items. Let me just write them up here real quick. Marker. Here we go. Red one. I have an 80-inch TV, and obviously this is a brand new TV, top of the line, can connect to anything, blah, 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 blah. And I have a 2021, if I can spell Toyota. Toyota, doesn't matter what kind of Toyota it is, it's just that I have those two things. And there's three of you, so what's the most overbearing issue at the moment? How is that going to work? It can. Oh, it can. We can do this. If I'm dead and the three of you have to figure out who gets what, there is a fair way to do this. Now, obviously, you can't split the car. You're not going to share the car. You're not going to split the TV. You're not going to share the TV. One person will walk away with the car, will drive away with the car, and one person will walk away with the TV. And one person will walk away with no objects, but will be compensated. Not by me, but by y'all. We're going to figure this out. It's going to be fair. I have an envelope with hopefully they can see this in the chat. I have an envelope. It's just got a blank Post-it right there. Okay. Now I'm going to give you each an envelope with a blank Post-it. Do not seal the envelope. Do not seal the envelope. I don't need that kind of stuff in my classroom floating around. So don't worry about sealing it. You could literally, in the end, you could like, there you go. There you go. In the end, you could like just kind of fold in the lid of the envelope, what do I have to call it, when we're done with what we need to do. What I need you to do in the classroom, you need to put your name on the front of the envelope. Put your name on the front of the envelope so that I know who's when you actually put your bids in. Now here's what's going to happen. In a moment, you are going to, on the index card, you are going to write down how you would value these objects, how much you would be willing to pay for said object. The 80-inch TV and the 2021 Toyota. A couple of assumptions here. The assumption being that if you put down, I'm going to put down a ridiculous amount so that clearly this is not the amount, but if you were willing to pay $50,000 for the 2021 Toyota, that means that the assumption is you have that money on hand. You actually have that money. So that's a very huge assumption that you have right here. If you're willing to bid a certain dollar amount for the object, you actually have that money on hand. That's one huge assumption right there. So this is going to be fair. Now, you can use whatever knowledge you want, but keep in mind that you are attempting to outbid the people around you. Whoever ends up bidding the most money for said object will get said object. But keep in mind, try to keep it reasonable. Don't put like $50,000 for the Toyota. That's clearly out of the ordinary. But keep in mind that if you win said object, there may be some financial compensation that's going to go out to the other people in order to make it fair. Please keep that in mind. One other assumption is that you don't know what each person is bidding. You don't know what each person's bidding. Thus, the idea of sealed bids. You're not actually going to seal it, but you're going to put your card in the envelope after you have write down the dollar amount for both objects. One last thing before you actually do that, and I take your envelopes back, or your cards back in the envelopes. It is possible for one person to actually get both objects. It is possible in this method of sealed bids, in which case money would be flowing out towards the other two people. So take some time, figure out what you would pay for both objects, and we will compile this information in a little bit. For those of you in the chat, if you, obviously, unfortunately can't participate in this little experiment in class, but you can talk about what you would pay for said objects because I'm going to compile the class's information into a table in our notes in a little bit. So, like I said, don't worry about sealing the envelope, but just when you have your thing written out on the blue card, put it inside the envelope and kind of fold it in. What is that called? The envelope lid or the pocket? That's weird. I don't know. So this is like a little, what I'm describing to you right now could be and has been a real life situation where you have, let's say, a family of people that somebody dies in the family and objects and items, not just money, but objects and items are being, hey, you guys divide it up amongst yourselves. Well, I want that. No, I want this. There's a lot of sentimental value. No, I want this. Well, what's fair? You have to come up with some kind of a system. And this game that we're about to embark on with these two objects is going to show how that system works out. I'll take your envelopes. If you got the things in there, that'd be great. Method of sealed bids. Well, like I said, it's just, this is like what you'd be willing to pay, and the assumption is, of course, that you have the money to pay for it. So if you would, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need those notebooks out and open. Let's see what we got here. Ta-da, doom. Okay, that's on there, that's on there. There we go. Let's see here. And bring this screen up. Ah, come on, you. There we go. Okay. Nope, I'm zooming in, zoom out. There we go. Okay. So today is the 9th. And this is method of sealed bids. Now, there's going to be a table that we are going to have to make to organize all this information, which we will in a few moments, using what you guys have given me. But let's kind of start a little bit of this table. So first, there is the 80-inch TV. And there is the 2021 Toyota. Do you guys like easily call it like 2021, like the year? Do you ever call it 2021? Or does that sound weird?
That sounds weird.
Sounds weird, right? I lived through the millennium. You guys weren't born. What year were y'all born?
2004.
You don't call it 2004? I'm just saying, you call it 2004, but you don't call it 2004, but you call this 2021.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just found it funny. Anyway, so, come on, table. So there were 3 of you. Let's see how this thing is going to go. Yeah, there we go. So the 3 of you are going to go in these spots up top. First, I have Nicole's bid. Let's see. What? I don't know. So, you said that you would be willing to pay $400 for the TV and $2,500 for the car? Okay. What do you mean, sure? All right. Personally, I think the $2,500 is a little low, but let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens. So then I have Allison's bids. She said she'd be willing to pay $1,150 for the TV and $15,000 for the car.
Hey, it's a brand new car.
It is a brand new car. And there's
There's supposed to be another 0 on that.
oh, the 20 for the Toyota.
I was wondering why it looked weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay, I can fix it.
Oh.
Yeah, because obviously this isn't an official thing.
Yeah, I was wondering why it looked weird. That's probably
So just for the sake of argument, then add the extra 0 there, make it a 25,000 for Nicole there. And then Patrick said he'd be willing to pay $400 for the TV and $5,000 for the car. There we go. Those are your bids. Now, again, I want you to think about the certain assumptions and conditions that happen here. First and foremost, you do not know what other people bid. You don't know other people's priorities when they bid. It's like you're not knowledgeable of the other players in the game. The other assumption being that if you bid a certain amount, that means you have to assume you have that amount on hand to pay for it if that were the case. So first and foremost, Nicole, you're getting the car. Allison, you're getting the TV.
I wanted the car.
Sorry. This is the way method of sealed bids work. Now, right now, it's not totally fair. It's not totally fair at the moment because literally it was just like, oh, well, you bid it. And, well, what about, Patrick doesn't get anything, She gets the car, which is clearly worth a lot more than the TV, and he doesn't get anything. That's not entirely fair at the moment. But the way that method of sealed bids works is now we have enough information. We have enough information in order to take the next step. So these were your bids. Let's talk about a total amount. Total. Now, in total, Nicole bid $29,000 in total. Allison bid, what is that, 16,150?
Shouldn't the first one be 25,400?
Oh, my bad. See, she added an extra zero, and then I added an extra zero in my head. Gosh. Yeah, it should be 25.4. I'm going to blame it on not feeling well today. No, I can't do that. But yeah, it's 25.4. Dollar a sign. There we go. And then I can get this right. Patrick bid $5,400. There we go. Now, again, the assumption being that you have that much money to actually go about doing this thing. So now, Nicole, you bid $25,400. You bid that much money. That's how much you felt my objects were worth. Allison, you bid $16,150. That's how much you felt my objects were worth, your opinion. And Patrick, you bid $5,400. That's how much you felt the objects were worth. So if we go back to Nicole, if you believe the objects are worth $25,400, that means you believe that there is a fair dollar share. And make sure I get this number right. Come on, number 25,400. Now I'm going to have to round this, unfortunately. But you believe there is a fair dollar share of $8,466.67. Now, mind you, I had to round that. It means that in Nicole's eyes, she feels that she is entitled to a fair share of $8,466.67. How did I get that amount? Well, how many of you are there? It's 3 of you. If she felt the objects were worth that much money in total, then she's entitled to a third because there are 3 people. If there are 4 people, she'd be entitled to a fourth. If there were 5 people, she'd be entitled to a fifth. Same thing with Allison. You felt that you were entitled to $5,383.33. Again, I had to round. Because we're rounding, the final answer may not work perfectly, but we'll get there. And for Patrick, I don't have to round at all. $1,800 is what you feel you are entitled to. Now, let's talk about, or my paper, I got to talk about allocation. Allocation. Allocation is basically who gets what. And we already determined that. Let's see. Nicole is getting the car. Allison is getting the TV. And like I said, for now, Patrick is getting nothing. move that up a bit. There we go. And like I said, that's just temporary because we're going to make this fair. That's the whole idea. A fair division is that we have to make the system as fair as possible. Oh, that would have made it. That would have made it, but they installed a paper towel dispenser. Okay, no one's impressed. All right. You guys, you. Okay. Now we have to do a settlement. Now we have to do some kind of a settlement. Now with this settlement, I'm going to create another table here to kind of organize my information. We have to do a settlement. Move this aside and move this up.
This feels really serious.
Who?
This feels really serious.
I know, I died. I died.
This is serious.
And now you're getting stuff because I died. Yeah. Just saying. Anyway. So in the table, I'm still going to I'm going to try to keep the same order here. I'm going to keep the same order here with Nicole and Allison and Patrick. So we just did the allocation of Nicole getting the card to Allison getting the TV and Patrick getting nothing. And we talked about the fair dollar share as well. So here's what we got to figure out. Nicole, how much worth did you get in the allocation? How much worth did you get in the allocation? I know it's a weird question. I know what you got, but what was the worth? That's your fair dollar share. That's how much you felt you were entitled to before this whole thing started. But you got the car, and how much did you believe it was worth? No, you said to add the extra zero, remember? 25,000. Yeah. So you got $25,000 worth of objects, but you felt that you were entitled to 84.66 and change. So what I'm going to do is this. We have to figure out kind of a difference here. 25,000 is what she got minus 84.66.67 equals, I'm going to zoom in on that. I'm going to have to, I'll do the calculator thing right now. Boom. There's a difference of 16,533 and 33 cents. Now, here's what I need you to recognize. Here's what I need you guys to recognize. She got a car that she felt was worth $25,000. A fair dollar amount for her, in her opinion, was $8,400. And if you do the calculation here, that means that you got $16,533 and change more than what you felt you were entitled to. She got more than what she was entitled to. More. So, you get the car, but you are going to have to pay that amount. You are going to have to pay that amount. I'll do Allison. You bid, where is it? There it is, $11.50 on the TV. That's how much worth that you felt that you got, right? That's how much you felt you got. But what was your fair dollar share?
5,383.
Yeah. So $11.50 is what you got in worth minus $53.83 and change, 33 cents. Going to do that subtraction here. Now, if you notice, what's so weird about this amount? It's a negative number. And yes, I'm going to keep it negative temporarily. Negative 42, 33, 33. That's a negative number. Now, did you get did you get over your fair share or under your fair share? Under. That means that you are actually going to get that amount. You're going to get that amount. Equals. Now for Patrick, he got nothing. So he got $0 worth of objects. But I'm still going to subtract his fair dollar share, which was $1,800. Now this calculation I know can get very complicated. Negative 1,800. This is what he is going to get.
Dang, that's sad.
I know, but he bid low. He bid low. This is what is fair. This is what is going to be fair. Now, it's going to get a little weird. Now, trust me, this is the first example that you guys have ever seen of method of sealed bids. The first example. And being that this is the first example that you've ever seen, please don't feel terrible when it's like, what the heck happened? We'll get there. We'll get there. So, ultimately, what's going to happen is this. Nicole, you get the car. Fantastic. But before you leave, you have to pay $16,533.33. Where is your money going to go to? If you put that money into, like, let's say the middle of the table, that money is going to be disseminated. And that money is going to be given away. Not just to anybody, but you're going to give $4,233 and change to Allison, and you're going to give $1,800 to Patrick. The money that you guys get is coming from what she pays.
What about the rest?
Good question. She asked about what about the rest? Because if Nicole is paying $16,000 and all that money, and you guys get what you're entitled to, what you get according to what this thing says, there's going to be money left over, right? That is called a surplus. You've heard the word? So, if I take those dollar amounts, the $16,533.33 that Nicole's going to pay, and I subtract the $4,233 and change, and I subtract the $1,800. Let's see, 16,533.33 minus 4,233.33 minus 1,800. Pow! There is $10,500 left over, just sitting there. This is called a surplus. Move that up a bit. There we go. That is called the surplus. That's extra money. Now, I want to recap something before we end up doing something with that surplus, because we are going to do something with that surplus. Okay? I want you to imagine the situation. I'm going to go back to the beginning real quick. I die. I leave to you in my will, the three of you, I leave an 80-inch TV and a 2021 Toyota. We do method of sealed bids, as we did before with the envelopes and the piece of paper. Nicole gets the car, Allison gets the TV, Patrick gets nothing. Ultimately, that's not totally fair because you just put in the bids and whatnot, but now we have to figure out who gets what in order to make this as fair as possible. In Nicole's mind, she felt the worth of everything was $25,400. Thus, she felt she was entitled to $8,400 or $8,466 and change. And you're getting that worth. She is getting that worth in the car. Allison, you felt you were entitled to $5,383 and change. You're getting some of that worth in the TV, but not all of it. Patrick felt he was entitled to $1,800. He got none of it so far. We do an allocation as to who gets what. Now we have to settle up. You have to settle the bill. You ever go, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. We did this back in my day, but like we always went to like diners. And like there would be like 10 of us sitting at a table at a diner. It's like the bill came in. We all just start throwing in like dollar bills and stuff like that. Yeah. It's kind of like we're going to settle the bill. It's not necessarily fair because it's like, people are just randomly throwing in dollar bills. But in this, it's going to be fair. Nicole got $25,000 of what she felt it was worth. She was entitled, or she felt she was entitled to 84 and change. The difference being $16,533.33. And because she got more than what she bargained for, she pays that amount. Allison, you felt you were entitled to you felt the TV was worth $11.50. You felt you were entitled to that $5,000 number. You did not get what you were entitled to. Thus, you were going to get $4,233 and change. Patrick got nothing, but he felt he was entitled to $1,800, so he's gonna get $1,800. But there's a surplus now. All of this money is not coming from me. All of this money is not coming from the bank. All of the money is coming from the three of you because you had that money to pay for it. So Nicole pays the $16,000. Allison gets her amount. Patrick gets his amount. Fair. But there is a surplus. It's just extra money. What do you think the most logical thing to do with this money is? Yes, literally. You take the surplus, you divide it by however many players there are, and you give it equally. So we're going to take that surplus and divide by the number of players. Probably do this in my head. I don't want to. That's $3,500 to each player. So we have reached the end. Now it is time for the final settlement. I'll tell you a story about settlements in a minute. It's a real life thing. So let's see what happens. Nicole, you ended up getting the car. Good for you. Now the thing is, you originally paid. Nicole originally paid $16,533.33. But she's getting $3,500 back from the surplus. So all I got to do is take her $16,533 and change and subtract the amount that she's getting back in the surplus. That means that in reality, you're only going to pay $13,033.33. Allison, you got the TV. Now, originally, you got $4,233 and change, right? But now you got an additional $3,500. $4,233.33 plus the additional surplus. You are going to get $7,733.33. Now, Patrick, you did not get any objects. No big deal. You originally got $1,800 from the first settlement, but now in the final settlement, you're getting the surplus of $3,500. So $1,800 and $3,500. He is just going to get a cash value of $5,300. Nice. I'm going to show you something on the calculator in a moment. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time y'all are seeing this, but I want you to see how this works out so perfectly. So stinking perfectly. In the end, Nicole, you're not actually paying $16,000. In the end, you're only going to actually pay $13,000 because of the surplus. But that $13,033 and change. Watch this. This should happen by the time you get to the end of the final settlement. What I'm about to show you is what should happen. Bring this thing up. Come on, thing. Do your thing. Good. This is what should happen. $13,033.33. That's what Nicole is paying. $7,733.33 go to Allison, and $5,300 go to Patrick. Ultimately, everything balances out. Perfect. That is what should happen by the time you get to the end of the final settlement. The final settlement. And that is fair. Nicole gets in her mind, a $25,000 car. She does have to pay a bit more. Allison gets the TV and a bit more. And Patrick, the only reason why you got much less money because you low bid everything. But that's okay. Yeah, you got the $1,800, but because of their high bidding, you got a bit more in the surplus. This is what is considered fair.
I'm happy with what I got.
TV and a bunch of cash. Yeah.
A brand new TV.
Yeah.
A lot of cash. Like, I can just put that towards a car.
Pretty much. Well, not a brand new car.
Maybe not a brand new car.
No.
A car. And then TV.
But even think of it this way. Yes, Nicole had to pay $13,000, but she paid $13,000 and got a 2021 car.
She thought it was worth $2,500.
25,000. Yeah.
I thought it was only worth $15,000. So.
I understand, but it's fair in the eye of the beholder. Think about Skittles. If you think about Skittles, we all value different flavors in different ways. So you might be like, you got all of the green apple. Yeah, but I like green apple.
Yeah.
So that's what matters. Oh, the system. This is method of sealed bids. Now, I'll tell you a story just about how legalistic things can get. Wait, why is this paper? Oh, snap. I did it, didn't I? This is why. Look at these papers. Look at these papers. One's taller than the other. Because I had actually cut it off for a class yesterday. I was doing something in cryptology. Yeah, where did that thing go? Oh, there it is. Yeah. I was doing this in cryptology. We're making sci-tails. Yeah. The message only makes sense when you wrap it around a cylinder with the right size. Anyway. Anyway, I'll tell you the story. So at my church, there's this guy who died. Nobody knew who he was because he last attended in the 1990s. But when he died, he left his estate to a bunch of different things. But he died in 2016. Think about this for a second. I just want the legalistic matter of the whole thing. The guy died in 2016, and part of the money that he left to the church, which is we got a letter saying oh, I'm like, oh, cool, money, cool. And then it wasn't until 2018, 2 years of litigation. Now, mind you, we did nothing. We just kind of sat there and we're just all right, just let us know when things are settled. But the family was suing every step of the way in order to get what they felt was fair to them. And it's golly, gee. No, not the dead person, the estate. The lawyers that were holding his estate in limbo or whatever you want to call it. Or escrow, I think that's what they call it, So for example, if I died and I had those two objects for you guys, I wouldn't just leave a letter and then let you guys fight it out. I would leave that stuff with a lawyer, and the lawyer would be well, we're going to settle this. And the settlement was going to be method of sealed bids. And so the lawyer would be that intermediary, that something party, unbiased party, I guess, so to speak, who would then disseminate the stuff to you guys after everything was settled. But this happens in real life. And this method actually, again, is a pretty fair method when it comes down to it. Let's try another one. The more we do of these things, the easier it will be to kind of see how this thing rolls out. Oh, I do have to write down these bullet points, though. First and foremost, there is an honest assessment of worth. Assessment of worth. You're not going to say that the Toyota's worth like, $100,000. That's not honest. You're not going to say that the Toyota is worth $5. You're not going to do that. It's going to be an honest assessment in your opinion. They are going to be independent bids, meaning that you don't know what the other person is bidding. You don't know what the other person's bidding. You don't know what they value. It's like you're kind of unknowledgeable. And well, actually it goes into the next one. No prior knowledge of other bids, because that could influence your bid. Like for example, Allison, you were, I'm assuming you wanted the car, right? If you knew that Nicole was going to put $25,000 towards the car, maybe you'd be like, $25,001.
Yeah.
Like, then you would get the car, but no, you don't know that beforehand. There's no prior knowledge. Now, obviously, in real life, there may be prior knowledge, but these are the assumptions that we have to make. Okay. Let's try one more. Here. About 4 brothers. Let me see here. Here we go. There are 4 brothers. And when their mom dies, she leaves them the house. But it's just one house. I know. Just one house. That's all they get. The brothers in question, Red, Ned, Ted. Any guesses as to the last name? Ed. I don't know.
I was going to say Seth, but that's like non.
So, there's a house. Now, the house is the house they all grew up in. There's a lot of sentimental value there. But sentimental value is not really an honest assessment as to the value and worth of what they're looking at. So they have to put in an honest assessment. And Red assesses it at $120,000. I'll put a K there for 1,000. Ned assesses the house at $200,000. Ted assesses it at $140,000. And Ed assesses the house at $180,000. Again, one assumption being that they do have the money to pay for this. It's not like you can just put in the bid not actually having the value that you're putting into it. You're not just getting this stuff for free. Now, there's only one object, so we can't do a total. We did a total before because there were 2 objects, but whatever they put into the house, since this is the one object, that's the total. What are we dividing their total by? Yeah, because that would be a fair share. If Red feels that the house is worth 120,000, that means that he feels that everyone is entitled to $30,000. Ned feels that everyone is entitled to 50,000. Ted feels everyone is entitled to 35,000. And Ed feels that everyone is entitled to 45,000. Again, these are just their opinions, but that's a fair dollar share. I'm going to put a couple of rows here. Get versus pay. Now, mind you, the way that I'm setting up these tables is not uniform. It's not entirely uniform, but we'll deal with it. They may change over time. First of all, who gets the house? Ned gets the house. Ned gets the house. And you can indicate that here if you want, like this. Ned getting the house. He's getting $200,000 worth of what he felt the house was. He felt originally that he was entitled to $50,000. Did he get more or less than what he bargained for? He got way more, which means dude's got to pay. Dude's got to pay $150,000 in order to make up for it. And you can even see that subtraction there, 200,000 minus 50,000. Now, Red, Ted, and Ed, how much did they get so far? Nothing. They got nothing. But fair dollar share, Red is entitled to 30. Ted is entitled to 35,000, and Ed is entitled to 45,000, which means that they should be getting that money. Should be, theoretically. So Ned gives that money to a lawyer temporarily. He doesn't just give it to his brothers. He gives it to the lawyer temporarily. He pays $150,000, says, here, lawyer, here's the $150,000. The lawyer splits off $30,000, gives it to Red, splits off $35,000, gives it to Ted, splits off $45,000, gives it to Ed. Now, sometimes this will work out perfectly. Sometimes it'll work out perfectly. But more often than not, you're going to have a surplus. So I'm going to take the 150,000 minus 30,000 minus 35,000 minus 45,000, and there is $40,000 left over. That is the surplus. Ned pays that amount. Red, Ted, and Ed are owed what they get, but there's $40,000 left on top of it that's just sitting there. So let me just make a couple of notes here on the next page before we deal with the surplus. Couple of notes here. First of all, fair dollar share, divide total value by number of players. You always divide by the number of players. You don't divide by the number of objects. That's a huge stumbling block for some people. Next, the money players get is from the payment made by other players. It is entirely possible that you have more than one player paying. It's possible. But the money that players get is from the payment made by other players. So the lawyer is not paying any money. Me, as the person who died, or their mother, let's say, who died, is not paying any additional money. That money is just being exchanged amongst themselves. So let's see now. We get a surplus of 40,000. There are 4 players, and as you just said, this is kind of weird to put it, but I don't know why I would just show that calculation, but I'm just going to put it there anyway. Surplus is split among all players. The surplus is split amongst all players. And as we said, there is a final allocation. Final allocation. A final settlement is actually the technical term for it. Allocation is when who gets what kind of thing, object-wise. But I know there's various terms for it. But then the final settlement is, everyone's got to pony up now. Start throwing in those dollar bills. Let's see how this works out. Leave this over here. So originally red got $30,000 plus the surplus money, $10,000. Red is going to get $40,000. Now, I want to make sure that when you do the final settlement, you do clearly indicate if they're getting money or paying money. Make sure you make that indication. Ned is getting the house. Originally, Ned was paying $150,000, but because he's getting the surplus 10 grand back, he's only going to end up paying $140,000. Ted originally was only going to get $35,000, is now getting $45,000. I didn't write the word pay. Pay $140,000 right there for Ned. Ned is paying that amount. I even said to indicate whether they were getting or paying it, and I didn't write it down myself originally. And then finally, Ed, originally getting $45,000, is now getting $55,000. If you did this correctly, Ned gets the house, but then if you take all of the dollar amounts, they should zero out. If done correctly, the dollar amounts should zero out. And what I mean by that is this: $140,000 from Ned, $40,000 of it to Red, $45,000 of it to Ted, and $55,000 of it to Ed. Yep. If done correctly, it should zero out. And everyone, maybe not happy, because maybe they really, really wanted the house. But regardless of being happy or not, it is fair. That's what it comes down to. Oh, fair division. Now, one thing I will point out, that this type of fair division, again, works with discrete objects. It works mainly with discrete objects. It can't really work with a cash. Like, seriously, if I died and I left $30,000 to the three of you, you would literally just take the $30,000 and divide it by 3, right? Yeah. How about Ed's long as it? No cousins. Sydney's asking about a cousin named Dead. But anyway, but yeah, if it was $30,000, literally, divide by 3, you all get 10,000. Yay, happy days. But if it's an object, even if there were 3 objects, think about it. Let's say there were 3 objects at the beginning of this class. Let's say that I said it was the car. Let's say that I said it was a TV, and let's just say it was like a PlayStation 5. Now, regardless of whether or not you want it, you could be like, okay, I get the car, and you get the TV, and you get the PlayStation. Fair. No, it's not fair, because the car clearly is worth a lot more than the other 2 objects combined. There has to be a fair settlement. And that's what method of sealed bids basically does. I love it so much. Okay. On Thursday, we will get some more practice with this. We'll get practice with some of the other division methods as well. There are other division methods that we're going to be doing. This fair division chapter is actually pretty lengthy, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, in the chat, if you have not left a comment in the chat, please make sure that you do. Please make sure that you're paying attention to Google Classroom. I'm probably not going to assign anything between now and Thursday. I'll probably wait till Thursday. Yeah. I think I'll wait till Thursday. We'll see. But there's about 2 minutes. No, there's about a minute and a half left. But I'm going to sign off from here. So I'll give you guys a moment to kind of... Oh, there's an announcement. Hold on.
At this time, any senior spring athletes report to the auditorium. You'll be dismissed and go to second period from there. Any senior spring athletes to the auditorium.
Okay. Senior spring athletes. All right, senior spring. All right. I would look at the chat, but they can't do anything about it. Anyway, I'm going to sign off and go from there. Chapow.